Lucas was the epitome of success, a self-made CEO running a multi-million-dollar tech company. But beneath his busy exterior, he cherished his role as a husband and father more than anything. He adored his wife, Amelia, and their two young children. To him, his family was everything, the only thing grounding him in his fast-paced world. But life has a cruel way of revealing truths when you least expect it. One day, Lucas stumbled upon an anonymous message in his email. You're raising someone else's kids. Check the DNA. At first, he brushed it off as a hoax. He trusted Amelia. They had built a life together, weathering hardships and celebrating successes side by side. However, the seed of doubt had been planted. Unable to ignore it, Lucas discreetly ordered DNA tests for his children. The results shattered him. Neither of the kids was biologically his. Lucas didn't confront Amelia right away. Instead, he delved into her digital life, uncovering a series of emails and messages between her and a man named Colin, a college ex-boyfriend. The affair had been ongoing for years, even before their first child was born. In one message, Lucas found the ultimate betrayal. Amelia had asked Colin to step aside so Lucas could financially support the children while she kept the affair hidden. In essence, she wanted Lucas to be uncle to his own kids. The betrayal didn't just sting, it burned. Lucas wasn't just being used. He was being mocked. He could have confronted Amelia then, but he chose a different path. A CEO's mind works in strategies, and Lucas was determined to make them both pay. First, he meticulously gathered evidence, emails, financial transactions, and even surveillance footage of Amelia and Colin meeting in secret. Then, Lucas worked with his legal team to secure custody of the children. While they weren't biologically his, he had been the only father they had ever known. But Lucas didn't stop there. Through his investigations, he uncovered something deeper. Colin was involved in a fraudulent business that Amelia had been secretly funding with Lucas's money. Amelia had been siphoning funds from their joint accounts to support Colin's illegal ventures. Lucas handed over everything, emails, bank records, and evidence of fraud, to the authorities. The case was airtight. Within weeks, Colin and Amelia were arrested. The charges ranged from embezzlement to conspiracy to commit fraud. The court was unforgiving, and both were sentenced to significant prison time. As for Lucas, he didn't just move on. He thrived. He poured his love into his children, ensuring they grew up with the stability and care they deserved. His revenge wasn't just about justice. It was about reclaiming his life and protecting the family he had fought so hard to build. In the end, Lucas didn't just survive the betrayal. He rose above it, proving that even the deepest wounds can heal with strength and determination. With Amelia and Colin behind bars, Lucas faced the daunting task of explaining the situation to his children. Though they were young, he wanted to be honest in a way they could understand, without tarnishing their image of their mother too harshly. He told them, "Mommy made some mistakes, and she's going to be away for a while. But I'm always here for you, and nothing will ever change how much I love you." The transition was difficult. The kids often asked about Amelia, and Lucas had to tread carefully, answering their questions with a calm, reassuring tone. Therapy sessions became a staple in their household to help everyone process the changes. Through it all, Lucas remained a pillar of strength, never letting his pain overshadow his responsibility to them. Professionally, Lucas was thriving. The scandal had shaken him, but not his business. His team respected how he managed to keep his personal life separate from his role as a leader. If anything, the ordeal gave him more clarity and drive, channeling his energy into expanding his company and building a legacy his children could be proud of. Meanwhile, Amelia's life in prison was anything but glamorous. Accustomed to a life of luxury, she struggled to adapt to her new reality. She wrote letters to Lucas, begging for forgiveness and expressing regret, but he never replied. His silence was his answer. Colin fared no better. His fraudulent business was dismantled, and he became a cautionary tale in their community. With no one left to support him, His downfall was swift and complete. As years passed, Lucas rebuilt his life. He found love again in Claire, a compassionate woman who was drawn to his resilience and kindness. Claire embraced his children as her own, bringing warmth and laughter back into their home. With her, Lucas felt something he hadn't in years: peace. On the day Amelia was released from prison, Lucas received a notice. She wanted to meet the children. By then, they were older and aware of the truth. He left the decision to them. His daughter, now a teenager, decided she wasn't ready. His son, curious but cautious, agreed to meet under Lucas's supervision. When the meeting finally happened, Amelia was a shadow of her former self. She apologized profusely, tears streaming down her face, but Lucas remained composed. "The kids will decide how much of a relationship they want with you," he said firmly. "But as for us, there's nothing left to discuss." Walking away that day, Lucas felt no anger, no bitterness, only relief. He had closed a chapter on a painful part of his life, leaving room for new beginnings. With his children by his side and Claire's unwavering support, Lucas knew one thing for certain. Betrayal might have shattered his world, but love and perseverance had rebuilt it stronger than ever. As Lucas moved forward, life began to settle into a rhythm of contentment. His children flourished under his care and the loving presence of Claire, who had seamlessly stepped into their lives. The echoes of Amelia's betrayal grew fainter with each passing year, replaced by memories of new milestones, family vacations, and late-night laughter around the dinner table. Lucas continued to encourage open conversations with his children about their mother. He didn't want to be the kind of parent who poisoned their view of her, no matter how deep the betrayal ran. Instead, he emphasized that people sometimes make mistakes, even serious ones, and that forgiveness could be powerful, but it didn't mean forgetting. Meanwhile, Lucas's company had become a dominant force in the tech industry. His ability to lead through adversity earned him admiration from peers and employees alike. Claire, a successful architect in her own right, became his confidant and partner in every sense of the word. Together, they navigated the complexities of blending a family and pursuing their ambitions. Amelia, on the other hand, struggled to rebuild her life. She tried reaching out to her children sporadically, but they were hesitant, unsure how to reconcile the mother they remembered with the reality of her actions. Over time, Amelia's letters became less frequent, as if she had resigned herself to the consequences of her choices. Years later, Lucas's son, now in college, decided he wanted closure. He arranged to meet Amelia at a coffee shop, a neutral space where he could finally confront the questions that had lingered in his mind. Lucas supported his decision, though he warned him to manage his expectations. The meeting was emotional but not dramatic. Amelia apologized again, expressing her deep regret for the pain she caused. "I let my selfishness ruin everything," she admitted. Her son listened carefully, but when the conversation ended, he told her, "I forgive you, but I've already found peace with Dad and Claire. I hope you can find peace for yourself, too." It was a pivotal moment, not just for Amelia, but for Lucas's son, who returned home lighter, no longer carrying the weight of unanswered questions. Lucas, too, felt a sense of closure. He had been the father his children needed, the leader his company depended on, and the partner Claire deserved. He knew that life had tested him in ways he never imagined, but he had come out the other side stronger, wiser, and more fulfilled. On a quiet evening years later, as Lucas and Claire sat on their porch watching the sunset, she took his hand and smiled. "Do you ever think about the life you had before all of this?" she asked. Lucas thought for a moment, then shook his head. "Not really. It feels like a different lifetime. What we have now, this is the life I was meant to live." And as the sun dipped below the horizon, Lucas knew he had finally found his happy ending. As Lucas's life moved forward, the world around him seemed to validate his choices. His children grew into kind, capable, and independent individuals who often credited their father's strength and Claire's warmth for helping them navigate their challenging childhood. Lucas couldn't have been prouder. His daughter, Emily, pursued a career in social work, driven by her own experiences of family upheaval and healing. She wanted to help others find strength in difficult times. "You taught me how to rebuild, Dad," she said one day as they shared coffee at her apartment. "I want to do that for others." His son, Ryan, became an engineer and often joked that Lucas's tech-savvy genes must have rubbed off on him. Though Ryan maintained limited contact with Amelia, it was always on his terms. He kept the boundaries firm, a lesson he had learned from his father. Love and forgiveness don't mean tolerating disrespect. Lucas's personal life also reached new heights of happiness. On their 10th anniversary, Lucas surprised Claire with a handwritten letter instead of an extravagant gift. In it, he expressed his gratitude for the love she had brought into his life, writing, "You turned my broken pieces into a mosaic I never thought I'd see. You're not just my partner. You're the one who made me believe in joy again." Claire, never one for grand gestures, simply hugged him tightly and whispered, "You deserve to be happy, Lucas. I'm just lucky I get to be the one to share it with you." Professionally, Lucas's company became a cornerstone of the tech industry. He had expanded it globally, creating thousands of jobs and setting the standard for ethical business practices. He used his platform to mentor young entrepreneurs, often speaking about resilience and leadership in the face of adversity. His story of overcoming betrayal to build a better life became a source of inspiration, though he rarely shared the most personal details. Despite his success, Lucas never lost his humility. He made time for the things that mattered: family dinners, cheering at Emily's graduation, and helping Ryan fix up his first home. He found joy in the little things, like teaching his grandson to ride a bike or cooking Sunday breakfast with Claire. As time passed, even Amelia found a semblance of peace. Though her relationship with Lucas and the children never fully recovered, she eventually built a quiet life, away from the chaos of her past mistakes. Lucas bore her no ill will, but chose to leave her where she belonged, in his rearview mirror. One evening, as Lucas stood on the balcony of his home, watching the stars with Claire beside him, he reflected on the journey that had brought him to this moment. Life had tested him in unimaginable ways, but it had also given him the tools to rise above it all. "I wouldn't change a thing," he said softly, squeezing Claire's hand. "Everything that happened, every choice I made, it all led me here. And this, right now, is perfect." And for the first time in years, Lucas realized he no longer thought about the pain of the past. He was too busy living in the joy of the present and dreaming of the future ahead.